morning. Good morning. Welcome to today's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today is Monday, the 30th day of December 2024, the second to last day in the year. Welcome one and all. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas holiday. Well, the season is not over, but Christmas Day and Boxing Day, I hope you had a wonderful time, students, and that you're looking forward to closing the year with a bang. Today, Monday, we have this program. This is the 95th class for the year. 95th class for the year. We have had 94 so far. Today's the 95th session. And again, I want to thank you for the attendance. You have always impressed with your attendance, and we are grateful. And I suspect that if we didn't make sense, you would not have been coming back, and other people would not have been joining throughout the year. So I want to thank you for the support that you have provided to this program throughout the year, not only by your attendance, but many of you have made contributions, financial contributions, for which we are extremely grateful. We are extremely grateful for your contribution. It will keep us going. So yes, today, Monday, the 30th day of December 2024, another good day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks to being in the land of the living. As we always say, it's a privilege to be in the land of the living, and we must give praise, we must give thanks all the time. All the time, we must praise his name. He allowed us to see this new day, and he will allow us many to see the new year. And as we normally say, many would not have been this fortunate to see this day and the new year. So give praise, give thanks. And as you come on, as we say, share the life. We've had a long break since last Monday because Wednesday was Christmas Day. We had no program then. So you had a long break. So share and remind people that we are on. And as you come on, remember to give us your thumbs up. Show your appreciation. So yes, here we are, this glorious day, December the 30th, 2024. And we all look forward. I know what happens at the beginning of the new year as we approach this new year, 2025. People are going to be making resolutions and so on. I want you to reflect too on what took place during this year, whether you made resolutions at the start of the year and whether you've been able to accomplish those resolutions. You know, every year people make resolutions. They plan to go to the gym. I think there's one of the most popular resolutions. They want to go to the gym. They want to lose some weight. They want to earn money. They make all kind of resolutions. Yeah, so this is the time for you to sit back and reflect on 2024 and to plan how you are going to approach 2025. So again, welcome. My colleague, Mr. Conway, is already in the studio, ready and waiting to go. And we're going to do the roll call. We're going to make the announcements, and then we're going to delve into the many, many issues that we have to talk about this morning. So in the meanwhile, share the live. Give us a thumbs up. Share the live and give us the thumbs up. Let me do the roll call as quickly as possible, and then we're going to go into some announcements and into the meat of the program. The program was scheduled at 7 o'clock this morning, and as soon as we scheduled at 7, we had quite a number of students jumping into the schoolyard, led by, at 7 o'clock, Evelyn, Tessa, Sean, Barlett, the man from the Hills. We had Kenneth from Maryland, Wayne from the UK, Brennan from Brooklyn. They all came in at 7. Shortly after, at 7:01, we had we had Barbara. Barbara came in at 7. Then we had Carlton, Winston from California, Gibbo from Brooklyn, Aubrey from Canada, Joan from New Amsterdam, Pauline, here, Eric 8218, Cobo. I don't know if he's still in Ghana. He was in Ghana recently. Lennox, Tom Cat, the original black man, Marcia, Keith from Francis Keith from Melanie Damashana, Brian is here, Puran from Essequibo Coast, Walterine. Then we had Vibert, 1966, Vibert Lawson, Courtney Saul, Michael, the man from Imbai. Welcome. Patricia from New Jersey, Marlon is here with us, Earl, Pastor Smith, 9339 is here. Charlene, 15421, I think it was. 15. I got a thing for numbers, I think Charlene, police number was 15421, retired sergeant. Ulrich is here with us. 8385, I think it is. For West Dem, Wayne, and Wayne says his number is 15735. Earl, and then it was Earl. After Earl, it was Janella, Sandra, Marcus, Diane, Clive from the UK, 9407. Goodman is here with us. Derek is here, Trotty, Mary, Mary Smith, followed by Vibert Smith. The siblings are here. Lyndon, then it was Clifton from Paris. Salima, 17488. Felicia, Pam is here with us. Carl, my squad mate, my squad mate, Carla Atman, 9414. Brenda, Jakey is with us here. Desiree is normally from Georgia, but she says she's in Guyana. I guess she went there for Christmas. Siobhan, Sagi is here. Stephen Jarvis, 9602. Then we have Mark is here. Theodore, Denise, the secretary, Clarence, Vibert, Richard, Henrik is here. Then after Henrik was Aileen. Aileen, cricket, glorious cricket, man. Glorious cricket, those two test matches. We're going to talk about it briefly just now. Then we have Aubrey, the Doris, Grantley. Kevin is here. David, Simo, 0539, yeah, Simo, Janet, Kurt, Ulrich, 9555, my squad mate. Aticia is here. Then it was Kevin again, another Kevin, Karen, Rhonda. Their name's still in the house. Patricia, Cecile, Boo, Carl, David, Terrence Young from Canada, 9795. Umi is here. John, Sean, Cheryl from New Jersey. Then it was Dion. Then after Dion, who else? Anthony, the Conor man is here. Malcolm, George, he says now was 8727. Sherwin, then it was Farina, Rohan, 12863. Johan Jawar, Dorette is here with us. Annette, Ovid, 0937. Prem Prasad is with us. Clay, Queenie, K, Sharon from the UK. Fergus, Patricia, Doreen, 349. Dwayne, Royston, Sandrine Baird, Raul, 11752, Maureen, Sydney. Then it was Lorraine, Bert, Trevor, FP Sweet. Can't recall seeing this student before. FP Sweet is here. We always welcome new students, Then it was Stefan, 12443. Gebo is here. Diane, Machu, TK, 9135. I think E2 is enjoying the holidays in Guyana, and he's from California. Vivian, Grace, Denise Moore, that is, she's from Florida. She's from GT. She's now in GT. Colin, Everett from Texas. Henry's all the way from Australia, way down under in Australia. Then there's Kerry, Emerson, Lester is here. Michael, Bonita, Moses, Eric, Magnell, Vernon, Marlon, Albert. Then it was Simone, Lyndon, Yverny, Keith, who's enjoying the holiday in Guyana as well. Walterine, Lyndon, Sabrina is here. Melville, Jaco, Russ, Ricardo, John. Then it was Audrey, Carol, Ezra, Ronald, Vibert from East Bank is here. Danielle Corbin is here. Man from Linden, John Punch, Dylan, Abira 1111. Then it is Norbert, David, Monroe, Conali, then Umar, Farouk, and then the last in the schoolyard was Audrey. And then when we went live, we had Carlton, Abu, Lynette from Barbados, Cecile, Steve, Gavin, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Trifosa is here as usual, and these students are all here with us. So welcome to the class today. Share the live, let the people know. Many of them might be still booze and also so you got to call on your fellow students and let them know that you're here. Now, in terms of our announcements, we normally start with the sad ones, that announcement. I think the first one that I want to tell us about is the death, not of police or anybody in Guyana and such, but the death of former president of Suriname, Desi Bouterse. For the younger ones, you might not know, but that was a strong man. They call him a dictator in Suriname. And I have a note here. He was, at the time of his death, he was in hiding in an undisclosed location in Suriname, having been sentenced to, in 2023 to 20 years in prison for the 1992 execution of political opponents, including lawyers, journalists, businessmen, and military prisoners. He was sentenced to 23 years. He was sentenced to 20 years in 2023. That rings a bell. He is accused and sentenced to killing political opponents, including lawyers, journalists, businessmen, and military prisoners. And they say that the autopsy revealed that he died sometime between they weren't certain when, because let me read it and say autopsy revealed that he died. Let me read that back. Autopsy revealed on Saturday gave cause of death as a liver failure complication from serious liver fibrosis caused by chronic consumption of alcohol. That is what the thing say. And he goes on to say the police are investigating, or they continue investigating, how he managed to evade arrest and how his corpse ended up being dropped off at his residence. Postmortem say he died sometime between the 23rd and 24th. Like they drop off, he was in hiding. So they drop off the corpse, like I guess what was his official residence. And then it says that he first grabbed power. He came to power in a coup in 1980 and ruled for 7 years before international pressure forced him to step down. Coup in 1980, international pressure forced him to step down. And he returned with another coup in 1990. He returned to office in another coup. And then he was elected in 2010. He was elected as president, and he governed for a decade until he was charged and convicted, sentenced. They had international warrant out for him and all that. And he remained in hiding for all this time until he passed out. And obviously he had support, people supporting him, and they dropped off the body in front of his residence. So that is what the newspapers say. And he died from, they say, liver failure complication from serious liver fibrosis caused by chronic consumption of alcohol. So Desi Bouterse has passed on. And I saw in one of the releases from the government of Suriname that he's not likely to be given any state funeral or anything like that. The point is, no matter how powerful you are, we all have to go one day. All of those who sit back there and conspire and tell lies on people and they believe they're going to be here forever. No, you're not going to be here forever. We all have to go one day. And therefore, I urge all of us to prepare for that day. Prepare. The day is surely coming. As I said previously, one of the most irrational things is the fear of death. Something that is inevitable. You know that you got to die. Yes, if you're frightened, people are afraid, and you know that the day is surely coming. When you should be afraid to live the type of life you're living, telling lies and cheating and thieving, and you're corrupt all them hundreds of millions of dollars, you're thieving from poor people and all this everything. Your time is coming. It is coming. And then yesterday we got the announcement of the death of the former U.S. President, Carter. Jimmy Carter passed away at the ripe old age of 100. He was blessed to see his century. And Guyanese would remember Carter, the Carter Center, back in the early 90s. They came and they made some electoral reforms, right? People said the electoral reform get G-communist mess that they have here right now. It's the Carter formula with opposition members and government nominated people and a chairperson who's supposed to be impartial for as GCOM, the people say that is what has us in this mess today, where we know what's going on at GCOM. We know what is going on at the Guyana Election Commission. We know what is going on here. So that's by the way of death. And condolences to the relatives of those deceased persons. I know in the case of Jimmy Carter, there's a format, as a former president of the US, it is laid out what is going to happen, and they just follow the format. It is not left to the whims and fancies of who is in power. The format, when a US president passes, is laid out, right? And so therefore, that system is going to kick in, and they're going to have a grand send-off for Jimmy Carter, right? And then in terms of birthdays, let me move to the happier announcements. Today is the birth anniversary of our own retired Deputy Commissioner Leon Trim, my good friend Leon Trim, retired Deputy Commissioner, is celebrating his natal day today. All the best to you, my brother. All the best, right? And I wish you long life, happiness, prosperity, right? And then we have some recent birthdays. Retired Woman Sergeant Bonita Fraser celebrated, I think it was yesterday. I think Bonita number 16308. She celebrated a natal day yesterday. We had also celebrating recently, I think it was on the 27th, Ian Lucius was a cop. He's a member. I don't think I see him here this morning. But Ian is a regular, and he celebrated recently. We have his Lucius. Then we had my squad mate, Leland Lucas, 9528. My countryman and squad, he celebrated recently too. Retired Superintendent John Sayers celebrated on the 28th. Sayers was 0711, one of my trainees, celebrated on the 28th. We had also Sergeant Natisha Sutton Webb. What a kind of 15499 or something, that was her number. Natalia Benjamin and former Corporal Jason Bob. They all celebrated on the 28th. And since we're going to have a long pause, we're likely to have a long pause before the next program. Advance birthday greetings to retired Assistant Commissioner David Larry George. I think he is tomorrow. David, we all know he has Larry, but his correct name is David. And then tomorrow, too, we have a person who is on the live here now. Eric Kamabaj, 8218, Como, is celebrating tomorrow. Also celebrating tomorrow is a fan, Kepler Conway, the son of my co-host, Mr. Conway. His son is celebrating tomorrow. And then we have retired Superintendent Jarvis Stephen. He's on the Sagi, is on here. Sagi is celebrating, I think, on the 2nd. Also, former member Irvin Washington, 8749, was a traffic man. He is celebrating shortly. Former member Renrick Thomas, 7971, I think was Tamu. Tamu is celebrating recently. He's celebrating soon. Lionel Moore, 11715. He was one of my proteges at the TSU. And then he got an offer to go and join the St. Kitts Nevis Police Force. He went there. He retired some time ago as a superintendent. He did very, very well over there. And I can't miss out. Mr. Nigel Hughes is celebrating on the 2nd. He is celebrating on the 2nd. So to all those who celebrating today, who celebrated recently, and who are celebrating in the next few days, all the best to you guys. Wish you God's blessings and that you live to see many, many, many more prosperous birthdays. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. I had a nice Christmas celebration. I overdue myself with the pepper pot. I had the last bit this morning. I wish to say congratulations to all those persons who celebrated their birthdays and birthdays to come. And also to my son. You know, you talk about a resolution. And I remember 41 years ago, my wife made some resolution. You know, she tell me, look, I already gave me that too. And next year mustn't pass unless I get my son. And she started a very production activities better than Gaisuku, and she timed it so much that the last in the year she was very strategic. My son was born, so he's going to be 40 tomorrow. Baltasar, I met him once at Corriverton when I was Commando Borbies. He used to slip across. He had a lot of friends at Corriverton. I used to slip across and have his drinks. And I ended up at a place a night, and he was there, and I had a couple of drinks with him. But apart from that, he used to be engaged in some activities at a place called Wanatabo, deep down in the Borbies River, doing a certain kind of activities. Remember, they had found an airstrip there, and they had found a bulldozer and all kind of thing there. So I remember about this well, thing. So and I think we have plenty more things to discuss. So let's get on with it.
Yeah, I like that, production better than Gaisuko, right? That's good. That's good production there, better than Gaisuko. I too had a wonderful Christmas, usually relaxing day, as I had promised. I went to the kitchen, took over the galley, made my special lunch and thing, and I had a very relaxing Christmas day and Boxing Day. Very relaxing. And that is what is good for what I like. You relax and you give praise and thanks and remember the reason for the season, right? Yeah, Sydney, while she was old as me, youth corps at Chimari, we were members of the fourth intake. We were squad mates in fourth intake on the 3rd of October 1969. We joined that organization. Now, let me move on. For people like Jacko and the others here on the Zoom, cricket fans I'm referring to, Sean came on, Orly, and so on. Test cricket cannot die. Let me repeat that. Some people are saying cricket not excited. I saw over the past 2 days 2 of the best test matches. I'm referring to the one with Pakistan and South Africa, which finished yesterday morning, and then the one last night. Now we talk about the South Africa and Pakistan match. South Africa needed 148 runs. 148 runs South Africa needed. And they were breezing at 93 for 3 or something like that. 93 for 4 or something like that. Breezing. Temba Bavuma, the captain, going. And then the other collapse. 99 for 8 wickets. 99 for 8 wickets. And we say it's all over. Bar the show. We waiting for the fat lady to sing. Because it was Rabada and Tolby Janssen. And the thing was so gripping. Them men pull off that victory. Rabada, the 8-wicket partnership or the 9th-wicket partnership, pull it off. Really amazing. Not only that, in pulling off that game, in winning that game, they are able to qualify for the World Test Championship in June at Lords this year. South Africa is there when all the other teams, Australia, England, India, and all of them fighting up to go there. Sri Lanka, South Africa booked their position in that game. Glorious uncertainties. And then who could have thought that having had 3 wickets down at T, I'm talking about the India-Australia match, which finished this morning. Let me be honest. I watched the game, and first of all, I was surprised that Australia chose the baton. They were 9 wickets down overnight. They had a lead of 300 and something in the baton. So I said, well, they're resigning for draw. Then India came in. India lost 3 wickets by lunchtime. This wicket being Rohit, who going through a real torrid time, and Kohli, and the next guy there by lunchtime, right? Rahul, 3 down. So I said, yeah, some excitement still. I can watch after lunch. I watched after lunch and to see the 2 batters there, Richard Pant and Jaiswal. All session, they went back, the whole middle session, they went back. So he said, well, getting the runs wasn't, they couldn't get the runs. But I said, all right, they're going to bat out this thing. Men bat the whole middle session. And then in the last session, collapse, 7 wickets, all of them out down the last session. And then I got to bed because I said, well, this is a clear draw. So I ain't gonna lose my rest over this thing. So I retired to bed. But I woke up this morning and I checked Cricket Info to see that Australia won the game. I was shocked. I had to run to see the replay to see exactly what happened. Can't stop Test cricket. Can't stop Test cricket. You can't stop cricket on the whole. Game of glorious uncertainty. Yeah, so it was very, very exciting to Test matches. CC, I'm sure you would have looked at both matches, at least in part. What are your views, my brother?
Like you, with the green zone aspect, I watched the South Africa match. I was on edges. That 9 wicket partnership. And then the India Australia, I watched from the beginning. Second session, those men bat out, and then I say, hey, this is a draw. Let me go and sleep. Like I went to bed, and when I wake up this morning, my wife tell me Australia win. I say, man, you got to be joking. Can't be 7 wickets in the session now. The men, she say, yeah, I do check, double check. Yeah, Australia won. Game of glorious uncertainties, boy. So I had to watch it over the last session.
Yeah, and one of the students here is telling us that for the 5 days, over 365,000 persons were in attendance. 365,000 were in attendance. Glorious cricket. Now let me move on. Now, one of the things, December the 27th passed by a few days ago, and I want to remind us, December the 27th, 2023 was the day when the magistrate ruled in that trumped-up charge against us, CC. After years, we were charged on the 19th of May, 2021, and it drag on. Then eventually, on the 27th of December, 2023, the magistrate ruled. And significantly, some of our statements, I posted a statement from one of the attorneys, Mr. Tad, on social media. I circulated it. The magistrate said that there was not an iota of evidence against us. It was all political. It was all trumped up, all because I, as chairman of the Police Service Commission, and the other members decided that we were going to follow the well-established and laid down rules. That is to say, persons with pending disciplinary matters are not going to be considered for promotion. The president didn't find favor with that. And therefore, they conspired to charge myself, Mr. Conway, and other members to get us off the commission. Because the charge was filed on the 19th of May, 2021. On the same day, Mark Phillips wrote to us, myself and Mr. Conway, for us to show cause why he should not advise the president to have us removed from the Police Service Commission. It was clear the reason why the charge and the reason they want to get us off the commission is because we weren't following the dictates of the president, this same President Irfan Ali. And that is what they did to us. I know the sad thing about it, as I've said, Dragan, serving policemen were interdicted because they too were charged with the conspiracy and misconduct in public office, charged criminally before the court, interdicted. You get Brutus charged with 252 charges. Up to now, you can't hear the police issuing a statement as to whether he's interdicted or not. Those ranks were interdicted. The charge dismissed, or in some of them cases, charges, because more than one. Since 27th of December last year, and up to now, they can't be reinstated. You think this thing is fair? You think it is fair? The lawyer, Mr. Tad, made this point. He said we had a program on the 28th of December last year. And Mr. Tad, Dr. Tad, said that when he looked through the file, he can't imagine that anyone with any legal training could have gone through that file and decided and recommend charges against us. Well, I think it was all politically motivated. The DPP, the same DPP. Remember, the Bernard DeSantis, former Attorney General, the late Bernard DeSantis, Attorney General, said in this same New Building Society matter, I have urged you all to get the book and read it. I think it's around page 59, somewhere there. Bernard DeSantis said that the current DPP, he was talking at the time, is the same person now, whose husband is a Muslim cleric. He said that is the feeling among the criminal bar. In other words, the lawyers who are practicing criminal law, that the DPP, whose husband is a Muslim cleric, cannot separate our religion from our constitutional duties. What to the effect? I'm paraphrasing. That is what he said. And that is the same people who decided with not an iota of evidence that we should be charged, all because it was politically motivated and politically directed. So a whole year has passed, 27th of December, and those people cannot be reinstated up to now. Are you saying we in a real place? Guyana is a real place. Guyana can never be a real place with them type of discriminatory and vindictive attitude by persons in authority. Let me bring in Mr. Khanwika. I'm sure he has something to say about this matter as well. See, 1 year just passed like that. And while we were vindicated, as we knew we would have been all along, men, and I understand that people who were to get the benefit, gratuity, at least one person was charged with us. Up to now, they can't get the benefit. They retire sometime all in the year. Your views, my brother?
It was PPPC, police, politics, persecution, and corruption. The whole idea was to charge us members of the Police Service Commission, and they bring in the other people so that they can get their own persons to form members of the Police Service Commission. And remember, 26 persons, I can't say they gave evidence. They testified. Some from Sukuk testified. 26 from the Police Finance Office, from the Strategic Management, from Commissioner's Confidential Registry, even CB 252 testified. People from Ministry of Affairs, people from the Ministry of Finance, and the magistrate ruled that there wasn't an iota of evidence. I remember saying that we conspire. No evidence whatsoever to show that we conspire. And also, they said we got 10 point something million dollars, and there was no evidence to show any one of us received $1. That was the prosecution case. Nothing at all. It's all, as I say, police, politics, persecution, and corruption. But there's a God, and God don't sleep. God don't wear pajama. And whatever you do, just come back and haunt you. CB 252 was one of the main protagonists. You see what happened with CB 252? And many more to come. Many more who are involved in persecution against us. They will feel the heat later on.
Yeah, I agree. Many of them held that Bible and swore to tell the truth by other religious books as well. And I have said already on this program, the most distressing thing for me in this whole matter, one of the most distressing things, is to sit in that courtroom and see police ranks, at least 2 or 3 of them, not all of them, went up there, held the holy book, and lied their head off. Those things will not go unpaid. Will not go unpaid. And it was very painful to see those persons, including CB252. They go in there, held the Bible, held whatever other religious book, and they lie their head off in the court. And as I've said, as CC said, God don't sleep. You don't wear pajamas. You're going to come back to see how one of them end up now. And more, there's going to happen to more of them. Some of them turn to religion, believing they're going to be forgiven. You got to repent. They say, yes, God is a forgiving God. But you got to, first of all, confess your sins and repent. And I don't think they have done so thus far. So you're not going to be forgiven. I know they say, who knows the truth? You know what they say? You know the word and you go against it. Or you're going to get beat with how many stripes. That's what's going to happen to many of them. And I made the point repeatedly. They tried to get me and others on your knees. They try up to now, they're still trying to ruin you financially and all of that. They're still trying. But I've made the point. Anytime you see me on my knee, it's because I'm praying for them. And so far, I must admit, prayers are being answered. Prayers are being answered. So that we understand it clearly. And so to continue with the discrimination, I got a thing I'm going to tell you all about it. This is News Source. And I tell you all when you hear News Source is God mostly, very credible. Newsroom is one of the PPP propaganda. News Source added here that a contractor charged for threatening language, discharging of loaded firearm and damage to property placed on $375,000 bail. This is the statement says, a police statement, that Kewal Ramdeen called Tano, a 42-year-old contractor, was arrested about 20 hours on Christmas night, 2024, and subsequently charged for threatening language under the Summary Jurisdiction Act, discharging loaded firearm under the Criminal Law Offences Act, malicious damage to property, right? Criminal Law Offences Act. And they say on Friday, the 27th December, the accused appeared at the Vigilance Magistrate Court before Senior Magistrate, where the charges were read to him. He pleaded not guilty and placed on a total of $375,000 charge. His bail is conditional with reporting conditions twice per month at the Vigilance Police Station. No contact with the victims and instructions that he lodge his passport with the court. So this is a businessman, an Indian businessman, Kewal Ramdeen, shoot up. There's a video going around. I didn't get time to download it and show it. Going around. Man shooting like if he did in Wild West. Appeared in court on the 27th. Right? Look, the man mugshot. This is the mugshot. This is his mugshot. Let me show you. This is a man who shot and killed. Not a businessman at East Coast. Shot and killed the man who he said, the black man who he said was stealing beverages. You ain't hearing nothing about the matter. That's over a month ago. And look, I'm showing you the show that these two here on the left, Keisha Green and Shaquille Thompson, charged with trafficking, TIN, trafficking in narcotics. You see, they got a date of birth, the date they were arrested. Big thing across the chest. Look at this one. Look at this one. Nothing. Look at this next one. Eh? Nothing. Nothing. And you want to tell me that this society is a fair society? Even that, they're discriminating in. Man charged with discharging loading firearm. Man accused of murdering an ex-man. They just carry that and he take out a picture like he going for passport. No mugshot with offense and date of birth and date of arrest and all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. This is what you get in what they call the one Guyana. That is what you have. Sad. Sad. And when you bring this thing to attention, they say all kind of thing. But there's the facts. We like to reveal the facts, the truth. We're going to continue to bring the truth to you. And the next thing I observe here, I tell you this, go to this thing for statement analysis. They say that this is a man, according to the video, brandishing a licensed firearm, firearms in the air, and they say he charged with threatening language. Threatening language. INC, threatening behavior, because threatening behavior is different to threatening language. So I don't know if it's a news source. Well, this is a police statement. So you can't blame news source if there's an omission. This is what the police said, that the man charged with threatening language, discharging loading firearm with intent, and malicious damage to property. I can think about based on the video that I saw, I can think about other charges that should have been filed against him, including threatening behavior. If you're walking around brandishing a gun on fire, gun in the air, it can be threatening language. That might have been in addition to whatever other charges. Based on what statements would have been revealed, he used words and he threatened people. But his behavior was clearly threatening to the people who were there. Clearly threatening. And that is what you have. That is the type of discrimination that you have. So Indian businessman kill a man. They claim that the police said that when they visited the scene, one of the empty casings was found on his veranda. The man was shot and killed outside the yard. Other cases are found in the yard. So it was clear that no threat was posed to him. It is alleged that shortly thereafter that file in that matter was sent to the DPP and certain instructions were given and it was recalled. And up to now, you can't hear anything else. Up to now. Up to now, You cannot hear anything else about that matter where a man lost his life. And as we said, let me say that yes, this man was stealing drinks from outside the yard. He did not pose any threat to the owner of the premises. And the evidence clearly showed that if you're going to find an empty casing matching the gun that was used on his veranda, which was some distance away, and the man there outside the yard, how can you justify that? And I saw a picture, or it might have been a video too, with the yard. Enough barbed wire down it wire so nobody can go into it easily. And I understand that shortly after this incident, Jackie Opel came around because the EMTs who responded were offered, that is the allegation, were offered money to say that the body was found in the yard. And I understand from a reliable source, a usually reliable source, that a particular police on the East Coast had a visit from Jackie Opel. And that is why you find all of these things going on. Is it corruption? The system allows for this type of corruption. And I'm going to tell you later in more detail that some of those same policemen who are alleged to be involved in these corrupt practices, the crystal ball said that between the next day or two, they're going to be promoted. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more as we go on. So here it is. Businessman discharge wrongs, terrorizing people, because once you're discharging wrong, that is, you can be charged for causing public terror, among other offenses, apart from the threatening behavior, all of those things. And they give you a threatening language, they give you a discarded loaded firearm with intent, and they give him the malicious damage to property. That is what he got. Christmas night, that is what he got. And that is why I continue to say that the thing discriminatory. We're going to point these things out to you, students. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to make his comments on that. CC, I'm sure you would have seen that matter. Your views?
I concur with you, Paul. And the whole thing is that, we hear to say that they seized the firearm. Perhaps the man still has a firearm. We hear to say somebody commando wrote him and saying the state reason why your firearm license shouldn't be revoked. And with the one who shot the guy, what did they do? Did Dharam Lal? Remember, he was in the lockups and with breakneck speed, they sell him on bail, and the hoodwink us to say on $1 million bail, and not a cent was lodged. Not a cent was lodged. And they're talking about transparency and accountability. Certain people with certain reasons, they're quick for charge them, quick for put up mock shots, but the others, nothing, just a bare photograph, And where is it? Weapons being used. What happened to the weapons? Why wasn't this person or the persons written to state the reason why the firearm shouldn't be revoked? And it reminds me about Critic. The Critic lash a man with a gun. Nobody in sees Critic firearm. Nobody in tell Critic, hey, right saying why firearm shouldn't be revoked. As you mentioned, Jackie Opel very much present about the place.
Yeah, because again, not only writing to them to find out, to ask them to show cause why the license in respect to those firearms should not be revoked, but maybe you want to investigate how they got firearm in the first instance. How did they acquire firearm in the first instance? Did they pay, as it is alleged, many people are doing, to get the firearm license? If they pay, who they pay? Maybe several persons. That is what is going on. People who should never, ever come close to a firearm. Yet, because that should be their so-called businessmen. So-called businessmen, so don't check on their temperament and their background. No. They come and say they're businessmen of a particular political persuasion, and they get the gun. They get the gun, and this is what's going on. And let me tell you this. The theory is that once you get all in many legal firearms, and legal is quote-unquote legal firearms in the system, you're going to also get a lot of illegal firearms. You're going to get a lot of illegal firearms. The place is awash with illegal firearms. Up to yesterday, this morning, it has been reported, big bacchanal at Linden, where it is said that 3 men, some shooting incident they had at the Four Corners somewhere there. They said 3 people, 2 rifle guns, and they shoot. I think 5 people are hospitalized. People pull their gun, and they had big Wild West story shooting out. That is what is happening. That is what is happening. I know it brings me to the point, CC, where over the Christmas holidays there, the crime chief, Deputy Commissioner Blanham, he waxed lyrically about the reduction in crime, and they seized a whole set of reduction in serious crime. And I think they claim how many firearms were recovered for this year, see some individuals and so on for this year. I want to remind you students, and I want to remind the crime chief that unlawful possession of firearm, this discharge a load of firearm with intent that the charges man for under the Criminal Offences Act, those offenses are not recorded as serious crimes. Let me understand it clearly. So you can come and you can tell us how serious crimes are done. And in the same breath, you're telling us how many guns were recovered over this period, and you're feeling proud. But when we analyze it, those offenses are not recorded as serious crimes. So when they come and they tell you about serious crime done, them man recorded all the offenses Brutus is alleged to have committed and so on. Them is not serious crimes. They are not serious crimes. That 252, they are not serious crimes. We had 3 persons from, I think it's Balwant Singh Hospital recently, they said charged with larceny by clerk or so. That's a serious crime. This man discharges loaded firearm with intent, not a serious crime. So we understand it. They are not serious crimes. And that is why the whole thing is skewed. They come and they paint a picture. Serious crime down. Name the category of crimes. 11 serious crimes. As CC would say, the 11 put together by Larry Lewis since in the early 90s. Of the 11, I think about 5 or 6 are different types of robbery. Robbery with arms, where arms are used, robbery, different types. And all of these many crimes that they are reporting, and we are witnessing daily, they are not recorded as serious crimes. So Blanham and the police can say whatever they want to say. We know the truth, and we will tell you the truth. And let me say this. We have said it before. Unless you can acknowledge that there's a problem with crime, you're not getting any place. You got to start first by acknowledging that, yes, crime is a problem in Guyana. That's where you got to start. Because I have it there. And maybe today I'm not gonna get the time. I don't want to rush it through. When you talk about crime, some of the sociologists, those of the functional school, will tell you that crime is functional in the sense that it tells you that a lot of the institutions of social control, and people think that the institution that should mold the individual, those institutions are not working. That is why you can get a 17-year-old go to rob and get killed. That is why you can have all those teenage people involved in crime. It tells you that the agencies or the agents of socialization are not working. But you can come. And therefore, having said that, it means, therefore, that crime cannot be dealt with by the police alone. Let me understand that. So when they get crime, they jump up, you're going to get Operation Eye in the Sky, you're going to get all type of operation. Given the impression that it's a policing problem, crime in any society, not only in the Guyanese society, crime in any society, it is not a police problem alone. It's a wider problem. And unless you can admit that, you're not going to get any place. You're not going to get any place unless you can admit that crime is not a police problem. It is not. So you can arrest all day. If the environment is there that creates criminal, you're going to always get. It's like a manufacturing line, production line. You take off some, more coming, because the environment is there, is conducive to criminal activities. And again, before I begin with Conway, in Guyana's case, they only talk about perhaps violent crime. But all the many other crimes that are committed and are more damaging to the economy and the society. All them billions and billions of dollars where they thief in and do not say, they don't see that's crime. Those white collar crime, they don't see that. There's a hustle, there's not crime. When I want to snatch a gold bond, I'm not encouraging it, but they see that as a crime. They see that. All them big contract where people milking the government millions and millions of dollars, that is not crime. Let me bring you Mr. Conway. CC,
Yeah.
your views.
Yeah, I listened to the crime chief, talking about crime is down and serious crime. And as you mentioned, certain crimes are not serious crime. Firearm not serious crime. Drug is not serious crime. Offenses under the Sexual Offenses Act not serious crime. All those things are not serious crimes. And they're not looking at this thing, they're not doing what I would say no proper analysis. Apart from what you mentioned, there's another theory. They said the crime triangle, where you look at the suspects, the victims, and the locations. But what we do is spend a lot of time and effort dealing with the suspects. But we're not dealing with the locations. And the locations are where things are happening. They call it the pestle, where things are happening politically that encouraging crime. Things that happen economically that encouraging crime. Things that happen socially that encouraging crime. You mentioned about the young so who should have been home there with a tie gun and robbing people. Technologically that affecting crime. Things that happen legally that affecting crime, and things that happen environmentally that affecting crime. You have to look at the picture, and you have to look at the locations where things are happening. Not only trying to find the suspect, and it's not only police, as you mentioned, but this is a real holistic effort. The members of the public got to be involved. You got to get various stakeholders to deal with crime. What they're doing, they're picking at the overhanging fruits. Picking at the overhanging fruits. And when you pick those overhanging fruits, other fruits will grow. What they got to do is to deal with the root causes of crime. Deal with the root causes of crime. You pick the fruits will grow. All you got to do, chop the main root, and the tree will die. Get the main root of crime and chop it, and the tree will die. But no, they come in and say, hey, give you 11 crimes and say, hey, crime down and crime down and crime down. When the major ones, we have a couple of abduction, not serious crime. The 4.4 tons of cocaine is not serious crime. And all them things is not serious crime, so they wait since Larry Lewis 11 crimes, and there's what they hold him for. Nobody ain't got no sense. Nobody ain't doing no proper evaluation and come in and tell you about crime down and crime down and crime now. Poppycock.
Yeah, they think they're fooling me, but they're fooling themselves. They think they're fooling us, but they're fooling themselves. And somebody commented here, Commissioner Cole, I think it is, that you have got to, here it is, you have got to acknowledge that there's a problem in order to fix it. And she's referring here only this morning. I don't think we're going to have enough time to go into it. Trinidad and Tobago, our neighbor, declared a state of emergency to deal with criminal gangs. State of emergency declared. And what it is, I listened to the press conference from the Attorney General of Trinidad and the Minister of National Security. For this month, December 2024, they're talking about 60-something murders, 60-something homicides. For the year, they're talking about 600 and something. You might want to argue that, yes, we're not in that stage, but old people say, when your mati house or when your neighbor house is born, throw water upon you own. That is it, what I got to read. Your neighbor house burning, throw water on you own. And in the case, if you look at the world statistics, in terms of serious crimes per capita, Guyana is right behind Trinidad. At least earlier this year when I looked at it. It was Guyana, it was Trinidad. They got a percentage and all of that, serious crime per capita, then it was Guyana. Even ahead of Jamaica, which is normally felt to be a country with a lot of serious crimes and so on. Again, I say, old people, if your neighbor house burning, show water upon your own. Show water. Then they say, interbeniba. Let Kwashiba take notice. So Trinidad, faced with a massive crime problem, serious crime. And when they talk about serious crimes, I am sure the categories are not limited like Guyana. I'm sure. I haven't seen it, but I'm sure that these gun crimes are serious crime. In Guyana, gun crimes are not serious crime unless it's a murder or a robbery. Unless it's a murder or a robbery, they're not serious crime. So discharge is loaded firearm are not serious crime. But again, I say you have got to face up and admit, not forging the figures, got to admit, yes, we have a problem. But the reason why I suspect they are forging the figures is because, as we said, they believe crime is a problem for police alone to solve. Can't work. No part of the world, no part of the world, crime is not a policing problem alone. As Commissioner Cole pointed out, yeah, Emil Durkheim, I did sociology at university, and they tell you that crime is functional. It points to the fact that certain aspects of the society are not working. They talk about the family, the school, the church, that these things are not working properly, because if they work properly, then the individual would have been so socialized and stick to the societal norms that they wouldn't go to a life of crime. So they tell you that once you see people getting involved with crime, look to see the underlying, the root cause of it. That's a sociology lesson. Some of them ain't been no way to learn nothing. So they can't apply. And you hear a lot of people now going to university, can't take that away from them. The president, only a week or so ago, praised the police. No time in the history you have had so many persons with university qualification. That may be true, but how is it applied? How is the knowledge gained at university applied to the work environment and the solving a crime? And how is it working? Are those persons allowed to make an input? So don't come and tell me a whole set of people get degrees, which might be correct, but what is it? Just get a piece of paper and that's it? So a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Now, let me move on. I read something a couple days ago. It says, it's a short one. The Guyana Revenue Authority intercepted a smuggling operation at the Leonora Coca, located behind the Cottage Hospital, late last night. I think that would have been in the night of the 28th. Acting on intelligence, enforcement officers seized a boat carrying a significant quantity of contraband, including high-end liquor and frozen chicken, valued at millions of dollars. So they get a smuggling operation, which is a regular thing in some areas. But here what they tell me, they intercepted this smuggling operation at the Leonora Coca, located behind the Leonora Cottage Hospital. I laugh when I see this thing because I'm familiar with the geography. The Cottage Hospital, they're right behind the police headquarters and right opposite the commander's quarters. The police commander's quarters is just across the road from the Cottage Hospital. So if these things are located just behind the Cottage Hospital, it's just behind the police commander quarters too. So they try to smoke, show dust in behind the Lenora Cottage Hospital, located behind the Cottage Hospital. Yeah. But the police headquarters, Lenora Region 3 police headquarters is right there. Also, the commander's quarters, even closer, right across the road. I lived there for a number of years, so I know the location well. I have to laugh when I see the thing. So they're telling us about the hospital, but they're not telling us that this is located right outside the commander's quarters and right behind the divisional police headquarters, this big smuggling operation. And I understand that the president lives in Lenora too. That the president lives in Lenora. See, I know, I think you're commander, you live at the quarters there too. Did you?
I live right in the quarters there for a long time, just next to the police at the Cottage Hospital, and then there's the seawall. And I know the president parents used to live a stone throw away from there too. So it's right in under the very nose of the police force, man. The headquarters and the commander's quarters very close to the seawall next to the Cottage Hospital. But then There's a policing you're doing, that you're aware and you're not aware of your surroundings. You're not aware of what is going on. You don't have powers of observation, or you don't want to listen to what is going on. So that's what happening.
Yeah, that's what happened. So that for those who are not familiar with the geography, I say they gonna come and they tell you that the code there, everything they right in the area there. I lived there. I lived there as commander, the division then. That was my first divisional command. I know the area very well. So when I saw the thing, the talk with the cottage hospital, I had to chuckle. I had a nice chuckle. I said, well, it's behind the police headquarters and right next to the commander's quarters as well, right? So that is how they come and try to kerfuffle us. Now, they got the next matter I want to talk about, CC. I read recently in the news, I'm talking about this lawsuit that Anil Nandlal, Attorney General, SC, MP, filed against social media commentator Melly Mel. Melly Mel say he's a snitch. He is snitching on other return. He is giving news, passing news to her on his other cabinet colleagues and so on. She made some very damning allegations. And Nandalal responded to them and claimed, I don't have it here, now I'll pull it up some other time. All the things he said, how she said he ain't fit to be attorney. She implies that he's not fit to be in attorney general. She implies he's a killer. She implies I think he said. Now, Melly Mel was saying that until recently, she was not served with this, with court papers, because she lives in the U.S., Nandalal there in Guyana, and the question has been asked, how this thing can work. I can't tell the people, I don't know how we can work. So recently, I read something from Nandalal's attorney, I think it's Dashani, King's Counsel, to say that the thing was sent to U.S. via one of these couriers, FedEx or somebody, and they claim that the thing was delivered to some address and all this. So she had delivered this address and so on. And I remember, we're talking about service. I remember in 2010, when I retired from the Ghana Police Force, during the interviews with the media and during my farewell speech and so on, I made some comments. I said then that one of the disappointments I've had is that a young, bright officer won a scholarship to go and do some master's degree in the UK. This is a UK scholarship. I think it was the Chevening Award. And they dismissed him. He went there, he studied, he qualified, he came back, he started to work, and 1 year after, they dismissed him retroactively. And I made the point. I said, the man had challenged, the officer challenged it in court. So when I had my farewell parade, I commented it. I said, not on the substance, just to say that I was disappointed that this man would have been dismissed under those circumstances. The then Attorney General Ramson, Charles Ramson, this one with the exposed daddy, he sued me. He sued me lawsuit, claiming that the matter was sub judice before the court and I should not have made any comment on the matter. The legal people say, well, you won't make no comment on the matter. You just said that you were disappointed that this man was dismissed. Anyhow, he sued me. At the time when the thing was to be served, I was in the United States. Having retired, I traveled to the United States. The court marshals turned up at my residence in Guyana to serve the document. They did not meet me, of course, because I was out of the country. They left it with my sister. My sister called me to tell me that some documents were there from the marshal, and I told her to take the documents to my attorney. At the time, my attorney was the late Rex McKay Senior Counsel. The documents were taken to Rex McKay, and when the matter came up in court, Rex McKay successfully argued that service was not effective. Because he said, you can't leave this. This is not a criminal proceeding, civil proceedings. And while in criminal proceedings, we talk about summons before, that you personal service, you give it to the person, or you leave it at the last known place and regular place of abode with someone of determinate age and all of that. That's criminal proceedings. Rex McKay argued successfully that in the case of a civil proceedings, you have to give it to the person themselves. And since I was not in Guyana, the fact that they left it with my sister, service was not effective. And the court agreed, as I said, was a successful argument. And the judge said that service was not effective. And what he did, he gave them the opportunity, I think that something to do with the date, to serve it on me whenever they find me. And me, as I tell you, I don't hide from nothing. I'm a real warrior. So shortly after, I traveled to Ghana. And in the interim, I understand it is alleged that the Attorney General was so pissed and so mad that he then instructed Henry Green, the Commissioner of Police, who is also the Chief Immigration Officer, to report on my movements in and out of Guyana. So Henry Green had to report to them whenever I left, when I returned. So when I returned, I suspect they would have, Green, the Chief Immigration Officer, would have reported that I returned. And one day I was at home, and then I saw the marshals, and I went out to them and collected the document. I'm saying that to say, unless the law change, I don't know that you can send by courier some document. You can serve by courier. I don't know, but I'm sure that the lawyers are going to take that up. But I thought I'll mention that because to let you know what my experience was. In my case, that was in 2010. The judge, can't remember who the judge was, ruled that the fact that this document was left at my residence with my sister, that is not service. They had to service on me personally. And of course, they had to wait until I returned to Guyana, and then they came and they did that. The bottom line is that the case dismissed, because there was no merit to the case all along. There was no merit, it was subsequently dismissed. It was Mr. Mukeze said for us, and then afterward, it was Neil Boston, senior counsel, who continued with the matter. So let me see how this one will work. We got to share these experiences so we can know. Because it has come, especially the one in Charlotte Street there, not Charlotte Street, in Carmichael Street. Come and tell you us other thing, use enough big word and try to confuse people. But let me give you the real thing. That is the real story in that matter. And I'm saying, if we are to go by precedent, I don't know that what they alleged to have happened, you courier, and especially some wrong address. And it's interesting because let me say that the thing solved. So who can go and get this evidence to say that this thing was solved or left at this? Who? Which courier? Well, I'm waiting to see. As I told y'all, you got to follow these things. Don't listen to all enough nice. Follow it to its logical conclusion. So I know, and CC and people will tell you that when something that happens, someone has to go into the witness box, swear, and to tell you about service so that the court can be satisfied that service was effective. But if you're sending by courier, I don't know how that works. I don't know how that will work. So we got to just look and wait and see. CC, your views on this so-called service. What are your views, my brother?
All right, I had experience, and I had tremendous experience in policing. I was once court orderly for several magistrates. I remember was court orderly for Oslin Small. He later became a judge. I think he was judge advocate for the GDF. I don't know if he's still. I think he's a minister of religion and thing. And I had summons to serve, and the person wasn't there, so I left it with somebody whom they got the name and address. So I had to go in the witness box and give evidence. And I give evidence, something like as a recitation that I left it with. I call the person name of discretionate age, having read and explained the nature of the document, and requested an early delivery. And when I was finished, Magistrate Small said, from the time you served that notice, that summons to the person there, to now, did you check back and see whether or not the defendant received that summons? I said, no, sir. He said, well, that is not proper service. The service wasn't effective in that thing. So I don't know what landlord they jump in and send anything by courier to an address and some other person apart from email receiving it. I don't know what kind of reciprocal arrangements they have with the U.S. authority. And I don't know. I think the whole thing is flawed. Unless the Attorney General could come and give you some quote some law somewhere along the line, quote the Constitution. And I say all this Attorney General doing in many cases is that he nibbling around the Constitution, he nibbling around the laws. That's all he doing. Come and quote things to us, quote case laws, quote the Constitution, quote what the criminal law say, or what the civil law procedures are all about. Don't tell me you send some, you get your Queen's Counsel who later became a King Counsel and just register thing and send it to an address in the United States, and then you're saying there's proper service. No way. Let the legal minds debate it.
Let them debate it, man. Let them debate it. You know, following up from that, I'm going to read a letter or an op-ed published in, I think, is Village Voice. I think it's interesting. And it says here, when power turns to persecution, a disturbing reach across borders by Guyana's Attorney General. And this is something on December 28, 2024 from Village Voice. Read it. Listen carefully. It is claimed to be written by one Randy Gopal. I don't know who Randy Gopal is, but it goes here. It says, the recent revelation that Guyana's Attorney General, Anil Nandlal, SC, has initiated legal proceedings against U.S. permanent resident or U.S. citizen Melissa Ann Atwell, known as Meluel, over alleged libel raises profound concerns about abuse of power, the erosion of judicial independence, and the misuse of legal mechanisms to silence dissent. This case is emblematic of broader issues within Guyana's legal system, where corruption and political interference remains entrenched, particularly under the ruling People's Progressive Party, PPP. Guyana's judicial system has long been criticized for its lack of independence. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, often perceived as a puppet of the PPP government, routinely fails to inspire public confidence. Allegations of selective prosecutions and weaponization of the courts against political opponents and critics have dogged the administration for years. Against this backdrop, the Attorney General's decision to pursue a social media activist whose primary offense appears to be exposing corruption reeks of an abuse of power. The question is not merely whether Mr. Nandlal feels aggrieved, but whether a legal system so deeply compromised has the moral authority to reach across international borders to pursue a critic. The answer, resoundingly, is no. From a legal perspective, the Attorney General's action faced an uphill battle in the United States. Under the Speech Act, a robust federal statute designed to protect U.S. residents from foreign defamation judgment inconsistent with First Amendment principles, any judgment against Atwell in Guyana would almost certainly be unenforceable in the United States. The U.S. courts have a strong tradition of protecting free speech, particularly when it concerns public figures. For Mr. Nandlal to succeed, he would need to prove not only that the statements were false, but they were made with actual malice, i.e., knowledge of their falsity or reckless disregard for the truth. This is an exceedingly high bar designed to ensure that public officials cannot use libel laws to suppress legitimate criticism. Moreover, U.S. courts are unlikely to recognize or enforce judgment from a foreign jurisdiction where corruption or political interference undermines judicial integrity. In Guyana, many high-ranking members of the PPP government have been identified by the U.S. state entities as being involved in acts of corruption, discrimination, and abuse of power over the years. This principle will most surely be upheld in any case involving Atwell, where Guyana's AG, foreign litigant, seeks to enforce judgment tainted by systemic bias or procedural unfairness. The Attorney General's case is likely to be seen for what it is, an attempt to leverage a flawed legal system to intimidate a critic into silence. Nandlal's actions are most surely a legal overreach, but is also an affront to democratic principles. The use of public office to pursue personal grievance reflects an alarming conflation of state power with personal vendettas. This is not the behavior of an attorney general committed to justice. It is a behavior of an authoritarian figure seeking to punish dissents. That this case arises from criticisms on social media underscores the fragile ego of those in power. Social media has democratized public discourse, allowing ordinary citizens to hold powerful figures accountable. For an attorney general to deploy state resources in response to criticisms is an abuse of power that should alarm anyone who values free speech and government accountability. This case sets a dangerous precedent. If corrupt governments are allowed to exploit international legal system to target critics abroad, it could embolden other authoritarian regimes to do the same. It sends a chilling message up to whistleblowers and activists. No matter where you are, we can reach you. The international community, particularly the US, must condemn this blatant overreach. Organizations advocating for press freedom and human rights should amplify Atwell's case, shining a spotlight on Guyana's corrupt judicial practices and the PPP's authoritarian tendencies. This case should not be viewed in isolation, but as part of a broader pattern of political intimidation and judicial abuse. It's a long read, but I understand, I know you get the gist of what we said. Because we said earlier, the system, we experience it. We experience it. Where the president suspended, he came after me and Conway and others, all because as chairman of the Police Service Commission and the other members, we did not acquiesce to the president's desire to have people with disciplinary matters promoted, including CB 2552. We said, no, we're going to follow the rules. And they use the system to charge us. Luckily, or not, I should say luckily, well, yeah, in a sense, the magistrate upheld the independence of the judiciary to some extent, but not all of them doing that. This magistrate was able to say that there's not an iota of evidence in this case that they brought against us. It's the same thing we're talking about here. Overreach, abuse of power. And in all of this, the DPP is involved. In all of this, the DPP, because the DPP is the constitutional authority of all criminal charges, whether public or private. And the DPP is the person who caused these charges to be instituted against us. So that's what we're saying. So this is a must read for you who is in Village Voice on the 28th of December. And I urge you to read it for yourself or to go back some stage and to look at what I just read. I'm bringing Mr. Conway. See, that read there from Randy Gopal, that is the name they have there. I don't know who's Randy Gopal, but it's an excellent article. Talks about overreach and all of that. Your views?
Yeah, I'm Mr. Bick. I don't know Randy, but it's an excellent. I read it, and I've since stored it. And quite rightly, the person talk about overreach, and you know the rule of law. They just decided, and the DPP. The DPP has been involved in so many controversial issues. And it's high time people start challenging the DPP. And I always remember the Henry Green case. Remember the DPP had advised that Henry Green be charged with rape. And Henry Green went to court. I remember the acting Chief Justice there. He said, hey, come to me and tell me, convince this court why you recommended that Henry Green be charged with rape. And that was Ian Chang. And the DPP could not have justified advising the police not to charge to charge Henry Green with rape, and Henry Green walk away. But the thing is that I'm saying, with all they're doing, what they gotta do, there are options open up to people that they can challenge the decision of the DPP. Do what Henry Green, go to court and let the DPP justify the decision to try to recommend charges against people, and that's the way the people has got to go. And I like the article. It's an excellent article. Bring up quite a number of facts, and I like the term we use, that it is an overreach, and you're looking for personal vendetta. It's very much an overreach.
Using your office for personal vendetta. And in the Andy Green case, a significant thing there is that the DPP's position was that a prima facie case had been made out against Henry Green. And Ian Chan said that the proof is not whether a prima facie case is made out, not that alone, but it's whether you stand a chance of gaining a successful prosecution. And he said in that case, there was not any chance of getting a successful prosecution, so he stopped the whole thing there and then. He stopped it there and then. So I agree with you. They have to challenge these things. Got the DPP sitting down and write approve, and she's complicit in all of these things. Because my point is that at some stage, when the matter, let's say the matter goes before the court, at some stage you got to recognize that, look, either when the matter starts or even before, and the DPP has the power to discontinue the proceedings. She did so recently in the case of the policeman Eastman, who spent 5 years on remand for murder. And the DPP reviewed the charge. The policeman charged a murder in the Saga murder, Eastman. 5 years, about 5 years, this man up on remand for murder, capital offense. And then out of the blues, the DPP decided to withdraw and to discontinue the proceedings. Never explained why, as far as I'm aware, but they discontinued the proceedings. You have a lot of similar cases. Judges have remarked, I remember a particular judge remarked in a case where a no case submission was upheld in a murder case. The judge remarked that there are other cases, other people sitting on remand, and they stand the prosecution has no chance of convicting these people. Like I was sit down there, unless you get a little money for get liar for run around. That is what going on in the country. Now we come to this next matter. I think it was the last occasion we were here, we talked about this promotion of commissioner and deputy commissioners. I did some research over the holiday period. I take my Christmas to do research because I want to come and tell you all as it is. This whole corrupt process, what they're doing. We made the point that the police force, like many other institutions, has a fixed establishment. In the case of the police, one commissioner, it used to be 4 deputy commissioners. They increased it. They amended the Police Act to say 5 deputy commissioners. And they get, I think it's 12 assistant commissioners. It is fixed. That is what the requirement is. The establishment is, as we would say. I made the point too, that in all the ranks, commissioner right down to sergeant, I recall, it is continuous. So what you do, and for the police who listening and so on, you maintain what we call an out of service list. So when a person retires, you have the date he retired from. When a person dies, if he dies on the job, you have the date. The person resigns, you have the date. So you have a list to tell you, to guide you. This is the day from which the vacancy exists. So if a commissioner retires at a particular date, the next commissioner, it has been so from time immemorial, the next commissioner takes over from that date. Right? Deputy commissioner retires, you get a list, this man go off this day, the next man will get his appointment from the day that the previous one went off. That went on, and I can tell you this because when I was the chairman of the Police Service Commission, we had 3 promotions. One, they didn't recognize and all that, but in 2018, 2019, again in 2020, I made sure that I sat down and I worked out the seniority so that people would not lose a seniority and they will get their retroactive date and all of that. Because for the past, prior to us taking over in 2018, that the secretary there had discontinued that. He said he didn't know. Laziness, incompetence that we talk about. He didn't know if I was sit back, is enough work to sit back to see when a person came off. So I regularized that. I took it on as a task. I remember on one occasion I was working in Barbados, and I sat down at the 3Ws Oval where a match was being played. I sat in a room and I painstakingly went through that thing and get it right. And it maintained then. Now here is it. We get back to the stage where when the president made the promotions on the 19th, all the promotions that he made, the one commissioner and the 5 deputy commissioners, took effect from the same day. Wrong. It is against the public service rules, against everything that is right. It is wrong. And let me walk you out through it. I know I might be doing people like Ikin and all them a favor, but I bring in the facts. This is not nothing personal. These are the facts. Now, the last substantive commissioner the police force had was Leslie James. Leslie James retired on the 1st of May 2021. He retired. He went to leave at the end of July 2020, and then Appy carried out the functions. Appy was never made to act. Appy was never promoted to commissioner. They used Appy. They had Appy there, and they used it. When Appy retired, so Leslie James is the last commissioner, and he retired from the 1st of May 2021. So the vacancy for commissioner of police existed from the 1st of May 2021. Right? Follow me? It means, therefore, what the president did a couple of weeks ago in appointing Ikin, who we felt should not have been appointed for many reasons, apart from the fact that he passed the retirement age, and then, you know, somebody said the other thing, he took 8.5, moral turpitude. One of the students remind me of that phrase, moral turpitude. Right? All right. So what he did, he appointed Ikin from the 19th of May. That is what the official gazette said. I read it. I read it. So therefore, the records will show that there was no commissioner between the 1st of May 2021 and the 19th of December 2024. That is what the records will now reflect. Because there's a blank. Even the board that the commissioners in the force are put up on from the early days, I think it was Weber or whoever, come right through to James, it get the dates. It get the dates. It get the dates. One come off, people start from that day. Right? So this incompetent set of people, that is what they do now. But more than that, the first deputy to have retired last set was Alves, Lyndon Alves, Deputy Commissioner Alves, and Deputy Commissioner Alves retired from the 1st of February 2019. Alves retired from the 1st of February 2019, so there should have been, there was a vacancy for a commissioner from the 1st of February 2019. Then after Alves, the next person to have retired was woman Deputy Commissioner Maxine Graham. She retired from the 1st of December 2020. Again, a vacancy therefore existed from that date. Then we had the next person to have retired was Nigel Appy, Deputy Commissioner Nigel Appy. He never acted commissioner. He was never promoted to commissioner. He retired from the 1st of January 2022. A vacancy for Deputy Commissioner existed from that date. And then you had the last Deputy Commissioner to have retired was Deputy Commissioner Dr. Paul Williams. He retired from the 1st of May 2024 this year. So the 4th vacancy existed from that day. So let me say this. Not for them to smile, but we know if they're going to be able to get what was done undone and get the correct thing to do. It means, therefore, as I've said, the vacancy for commissioner exists from the 1st of May 2021, not from the 19th of December 2024. And according to the seniority in the police force, according to the seniority, not the seniority that Brutus talked about, we see Brutus said that the Police Service Commission gave him seniority above the other people. That can't work. It don't work like that. The fact that all of them, all 5 deputy commissioners were promoted at the same time, the seniority that existed in the previous rank, the assistant commissioner rank, has to be maintained. So given what I told you, is that Deputy Commissioner Alves retired on the 1st of February 2019. Therefore, Assistant Commissioner, as he was then, McBean, or Deputy Commissioner as he is now, that should be his appointment date, the 1st of February 2019. And again, according to the seniority, Graham retired on the 1st of December 2020. Watts should be appointed from that date. And then Oppie retired from the force of January 2022. Budram should be appointed from that date, should have been appointed from that date. Then you have Williams retired on the 4th of May 2024. Blanham should have been appointed with effect from that date. And there is 4 because the establishment then called for 4. But they make 5. They made 5. So what happens then? The last man, the most junior of the set, Karim Bash, he is the only one that they did correctly because he has to be appointed from a current date. Because remember, they had 4, and as the 4 came off, people got to fill those positions. You have a 5th man that he is now appointed from a current date, which could be the 19th of December. And again, I say, me and this is not nothing personal. This is how it is done. Public service rules, police precedents, and all of that. But you have a president who, I don't know who advising him. I don't know who is advising him. Well, I hope it's not Nandela again, because Nandela is getting a lot of Ramgoat advice. Whoever advised him, I advise him incorrectly. And I dare them to challenge what I've just read. I dare them. Because when, let me give a personal example. When I was promoted to assistant superintendent in December of 1985, the person whose vacancy I filled was since 1984. So I get that backdated. And here how the thing would say, before I bring in Mr. Conway, it will say that Deputy Commissioner McBean is appointed to Deputy Commissioner. Vice Deputy Commissioner Alves, who retired on the 1st of February 2019. Or if vice really means in place of. So let me break it down. It will say that Deputy Commissioner McBean is appointed to Deputy Commissioner from the 1st of February 2019 in the place of Deputy Commissioner Alves, who retired on that date. And the same thing, Deputy Commissioner Watts is appointed Deputy Commissioner from the 1st of December 2020 in the place of woman Deputy Commissioner Graham, who retired from that date. And then you go and you say, in case of Budram, appointed in the place of Oppie, who retired on the 4th of January 2022. And in the case of Blanham appointed on the 1st of May 2024 in the place of Williams, who retired on the 1st of May 2024. And then, as I said, Barambash to fill a current vacancy on the 19th of December 2024 to fill a current vacancy. That is how it should be done. But they're corrupting the whole process because they're corrupt and they're incompetent. That is how it should be done. And somebody asking the question about backdating all the time. All the time. The only way you're not gonna backdate, and it is not effective, because if at the time when the person retire, then you promote the next person right away. So then there's no need to backdate. But if it as happens, you wait until maybe July or December, you got to backdate and fill the vacancies from the date the vacancy was created. From the date the vacancy was created. And they're causing all of these problems, and the same president talk about disunity and dysfunction. They're creating it. These simple things, to me, it is simple. It is there. And I'm sure you have a lot of people, not only me, with the experience to guide them and to advise, but they don't see guidance and advice. So they're going to do the wrong thing. And let me say this. Now that Slow and Conway have spoken about it, they're going to be obstinate. They're going to decide, well, we don't do it, let's stay just so. We don't do it, let's stay just so. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, man. CC.
You got the dates correctly, you know. Correctly. And I remember when we went on the police, when we were appointed the members of the Police Service Commission, the previous commission, same day they pronounced the announcement, there's a date they give them, which was totally wrong. My experience, I remember when I was commander, the division is West Coast, them now is I think Region 3, they call it now. Felix called me, afternoon Commissioner Felix called me, said, Conway, you will be promoted from senior soup to assistant commissioner. And you know what? You have been backdated for 3 years. So I get backdated when I get promoted for 3 years. And I got a good small piece, I think 1 point something million dollar, near $2 million that I got. And other persons had their backdated promotion. Yes, you get promoted where you gotta cover the vacancy, but they haven't doing it now. As you mentioned, they're gonna say, hey, Budram number one, Branham number two, Watts number three, Carmichael and they put in McBean at the bottom. They put the McBean at the bottom, and McBean is a person they don't mention it. McBean got a master's degree in global security and policing. Let me repeat, in global security and policing, and since 2006, where he won a British scholarship and went there, and because he got his scholarship, they're not Kiev, but he took them to court and he won his case. So McBean should get the senior position there. But because we talk, they're going to say, no, 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 no. And then them deputy commissioner going to frighten for talk, frighten for bring up things because they feel the government is famous for, dealing with retribution. Because you talk up, they're going to sideline you. They're going to sideline your family and then do all sort of thing. Retribution is very, very evident with this government. But the thing is, I am batting for them deputy commissioners. But fair is fair. We said, Nigram say, talk for rain and talk for sun. That they are entitled to be promoted on the dates where the vacancy existed and get their back money. And get you go back to, I say, 3 years. 3 years backdated, And if they got to go back so far, so be it. Me ain't batting for them, but they got to fight for their own right too.
Of course, man. Again, if you're senior and you can't represent yourself, then you can't be expected to represent the people below you. And it's not just about the promotion, the error, but you're gonna now, based on what they have done, if they maintain that and if they don't correct it, you're affecting the superannuation benefits of these people. Because many of them, I'm sure, get a couple more years before they retire. And when you did this disservice by just appointing everybody from the 19th of December, when the vacancies that they're filling existed from as far back as many, many years, 2021, you're affecting that's at 2020, you're affecting the superannuation benefits of these ranks. And I hope that many of them will have a quiet word with the authorities to say, well, please correct this thing. You're going to make publication so that people can say, well, it's slow and can't we force you all to do it quietly. Do it quietly. And all of this, again, is not only at that level. I recall, as I've said, when I went there as the chairman of the Police Service Commission in 2018, the previous years, everybody that promoted on the 1st of January, everybody get the same date. Everybody get the same date. It even gets so bad now that the last promotion they made in 2022 July, they're promoting inspectors with years and years of service to assistant superintendent on probation. They don't know what is the meaning of that. And that thing affects those very persons. I mean, they're glad they get a promotion, but they can't see how it's going to affect them down the road. Because what will happen? You're an assistant superintendent on probation, right? Where it should not be, because assistant superintendent on probation is basically a trial thing. So if you're promoted a person from sergeant to ASP, then you put him on probation. If a person is an inspector and they get a little bit service as an inspector under 2 years, I think it is, probation. And probation is to see how they are going to perform, then you confirm them in the rank. So what's going to happen? The crystal ball. Take out the crystal ball. In the next day, maybe tomorrow or the next day, they're going to make promotion. And a lot of the people who they promoted to assistant superintendent on probation, they're going to then confirm them as assistant superintendent. And a lot of people who are inspectors can then get promoted to ASP. So they're either the same rank or for all the people can pass them. That is how incompetent and corrupt these people are. That is how it is. Now let me move on. As I've said, it's a serious thing, and I hope that these people will raise it. Because your superannuation benefits are going to be affected with this nonsense what they did but on the 19th of December this year, to promote everybody from the same date, and disregard the dates that the vacancies came into being. I'm teaching you all free. I want money, because if I ask you for money, you're going to charge me again for conspiracy to commit fraud. But it's free knowledge, free. It's so stay. I like to pass on the little knowledge that I get, because it's people like Derek Thompson and Winston Felix and Larry Lewis and all them and the Chester and them, and bring Sidney Bunbury, Wills and all them, and taught me these things. So I didn't pay them. So I believe I have a responsibility to pass it on. So that is what I am doing. I am passing it on. Now let me come to this matter. Our next matter here. What time? Oh, we got time for Hustle and finish this one. Prosecution applies for Calvin Brutus' bail to be revoked amid allegation of flight attempt. That's what I said. The prosecution recently, let me give you a walk back for this thing, I ain't going way back. You know that Brutus charged a total of 252. The Brutus without Assistant Commissioner Calvin Brutus, attorney at law. He was there at admin investigation. They charged a total of 252 criminal charges, ranging from misconduct in public office, last by clerk or servant, or last public officer, last by public officer, money laundering, all set of charges. His wife, the driver, some other people get charged. He got 252. He wanted to leave the country to accompany his wife overseas. She said she's going for medical treatment. The judge said, no, you can't go. Then they have what I call a military operation. And I say a military operation. Because when the wife was put on bail, she had to lodge her passport. Now, once your passport lodges, it means, in essence, that you can't travel. On the 5th of December, our lawyers applied to the magistrate to the condition of bail to be varied. In other words, so that she don't have to lodge her passport. The magistrate agreed for her to get back the passport. This very day, the very afternoon, she traveled out the country. That's what I call a military move, because many questions are to be asked. How did they know that the decision would have been favorable? When did they book the ticket and all of that? Did they travel to the airport and book the ticket from the airport? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's a military operation. They planned there. All right. She left and she went away. Right? Brutus. And get the high court said he can't go to accompany she. So he in Guyana. On the 16th of this month, it is reported that he was seen at Letem. For those of you who know, Letem is at the border with Brazil. They got a bridge connecting Guyana. The Takatu Bridge connects Guyana with Brazil. Right? They allege that he was there, and the Ministry of Home Affairs issued a statement to say that he was trying to leave the country. That's what the Ministry of Home Affairs said. He was trying to leave the country. And then what? This is, I think, Guyana Times or one of them old-time toilet paper. He said the prosecution applied to the court to revoke Assistant Police Commissioner Calvin Brutus' bail and have him remanded to prison, alleging that he attempted to flee the jurisdiction. In court on Tuesday, that's last Tuesday, the prosecution contended that on the 16th of December 2014, Brutus traveled to Letem, Region 9, without court authorization and was intercepted by law enforcement officers while attempting to cross the Takatu Bridge to Brazil. And then Airways says, I read out the whole Airways says, they allege that Brutus had booked a flight through Trans-Guyana Airways to Letem, despite the fact that his passport was supposed to be held by the court as a condition of his bail. However, it was not mentioned how he was able to book a flight without his passport. Here's stupid, this is what they say. They say, in other words, for you to travel, for Brutus to have traveled from, I suspect he traveled from Ogle to Letem, he needed to have a passport, and he needed to have a passport to book a flight. That's what Guyana Times say. And when I thought about it, I said, perhaps this thing makes sense. Let me be a little facetious now. Because you remember, I played the tape where Nandalal said, and he can't think, I get the tape, I can play him if he only dispute. That Guyana he said Guyana 186 square miles. 186,000 square miles. That's what Nandalal said. Then Akin said, that Guyana is 83,000 square miles. So I am saying that maybe, see that it can reduce Guyana to 83,000 square miles. Lethem was not a part any longer, or is not a part any longer of Guyana. So for Butas to travel from Ogle to Lethem, you got to get passport. That's what the Guyana Times said. Right? So that's the only conclusion I could come to. I said, it can say it's 83. So therefore, Lethem is part in knockout. So if you got, Lethem is no longer Guyana. So that is what they were saying. So all right, they applied for him to be, they say he tried to leave the country. And then surprisingly, the matter came up on the 27th, I think it was, yeah. 27th was a Friday. And they said the state withdraws its bid to revoke Brutus's bail. So they make all this nice. Brutus trying to flee the country. Of course, his lawyer responded to that. Brutus responded as well to say that's not so. But then when they got to court on the 27th, the prosecution, the state withdrew the application. And here, let me read it quickly up to a certain part. They said, without explanation, the state yesterday withdrew its application to revoke the bail of Assistant Police Commissioner Calvin Brutus. I tell Starbreak News and all them, he's not Assistant Police Commissioner. He's Assistant Commissioner of Police, ACP. But I mean, they're all lamp on this thing. So there's right in abbreviation many times, ACP. But when they write it out, they say Assistant Police Commissioner, Assistant Commissioner of Police. It goes on. The surprise move came during an hearing before magistrate at the Georgetown Magistrate Court. Prosecutor David Braffett announced the decision, but provided no explanation for the withdrawal. The move raises question from Brutus's defense attorney, who sought clarification from the court. However, no rationale was offered by the prosecution. The Special Organized Crime Unit, which has brought the charges against Brutus, issued a statement yesterday refuting an online report, but did not explain why the application had been withdrawn. And then during the hearing, the prosecution questioned the status of Brutus's wife, Adonica Alder, who had been granted permission to leave Guyana temporarily, but had remained abroad beyond the permitted time frame. The defense attorney stated that Brutus's wife is undergoing a medical treatment and assured the court that documentation to substantiate this claim would be presented at the next hearing. I think the next hearing was today. He goes on to say, Braffett, this is prosecutor, expressed dissatisfaction with the lack of evidence and accused the defense of making unsupported claims. The magistrate acknowledged the breach of the court's directive by Brutus's wife and stressed the importance of compliance. The magistrate warned that the court could exercise its full authority if the required documents were not produced as promised. They got a lot more other things there to talk about. But again, I got a letter, but I can't get time to read it now because Lorley Nestor, former MP, wrote a beautiful letter and may ask some serious questions. She asked some serious questions. So before I bring in Mr. Conway, first of all, I had a question in this matter because Brutus was seen according to the Ministry of Affairs on the 16th of December, Monday the 16th of December, at the border. They say he attempted to get away. Right? That is what ministry claimed. He attempted to flee, the claim. Brutus was in court on the 18th, 2 days after, on the 18th of December, and this matter was never raised. His attempt to flee the jurisdiction was never raised. We talked about it and we criticized it on this program, the very 18th. I asked if Brutus attempted to leave the jurisdiction, to flee, as I say, and he went to court on the 18th. He attempted to flee on the 16th. You have this information. He went to court on the 18th. Why did you not bring it to the magistrate's attention and ask there and then for the bail to revoke? But they didn't do that. So we talk about it, and because we talk about it, then I guess they run to say they're making an application for the bail to be revoked and for him to be remanded. I told my people, when I looked into the crystal ball, I told many of my social media people that the crystal ball tells me that the application would not be granted, the bail would not be revoked, and Brutus would not be remanded. But then what happened? They withdrew. So he didn't come to the magistrate making a decision. Because the thing didn't make sense. The thing did not make sense. I asked the question, why did the Ministry of Home Affairs, a ministry that's hardly issue any statement, if a statement is to be issued, why did the chief immigration officer or SOKU was doing this investigation and prosecuting this case, why they were not the ones to make this release? So I said, nah, I smell me bullshit meat that went off. And I said, this is BS. This is BS. Then the next thing I have here, somebody, one of the students, he's on here now, asked the question, I'm quoting him on social media. He said, why is the magistrate going after the charge that was withdrawn by Soku? Student, the charge was not withdrawn. Buta still facing 252 criminal charges before the court. What was withdrawn is the application made by the prosecutors for his bail to be revoked and for him to be remanded. Different story there. Nobody attempted, as far as I know, to withdraw the charges, the 252 charges, or any number of them. No such application made. The application was for the bail to be revoked. The bail to be revoked. And if the bail is revoked, in other words, the magistrate put you on bail. I think he's up on 16 million bail and so on. So if the magistrate had revoked the bail, it means that he was no longer on bail, he had to be remanded. And I said, and what would happen, as far as I'm aware, if my memory serves me correct, the bail is revoked. It then means that the whoever bailed, he get back the money then. Once you revoke the bail, whoever bailed him would have gotten back the money because he was no longer on bail, he had to be remanded. Which is totally the difference. You can the court can also escheat your bail, take away your bail. When a bail is revoked, it's not an escheatment. So in other words, all right, quick lesson here. You put on bail $1 million to turn up in court on a particular date. You ain't turn up. You're running out of the place. They got cast, maybe issue warrant for you and all of that. Now, if that occurs, then the magistrate can order, or the judge, I guess, can order the bail be escheated. Now, once the bail is escheated, that money gone to the state. So whoever bail you can't get back the money. It is escheated as different and distinct from a revocation. So understand it clearly. The difference between the revocation that they sought, which is don't put him on bail no more. He had 17 or 16 million, that we want that revoked. So he's no longer on bail, he's remanded. Whoever bail he can get back the money, I suspect. If it is, when we talk about escheatment, it's because you are failing to report, you put on bail to report, and you're not reporting, and once the court satisfied that you know that you have to go, you not go, they might even issue warrant for your arrest, they can't find you, the bail is escheated. Once the bail is escheated, the bail now, that money becomes the property of the state. So that we understand it. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to give his closing remarks. Well, we are almost there already. So give his closing remarks. I'm sure he wants to wish you Merry Happy New Year and all of that. Let me give him some time to do so. CC, talk about the bail story first and then wind up.
Well, you put it very, very clearly, in terms of revoking the bail and it's cheating. If you cheat, the bail is cheated, you don't get back your money and you're remanded. But then if the bail is revoked, the person get back the money for the bail and you gone on remand. But looking at the old circumstances, and let me make it clear again that I hold no brief for Brutus. None whatsoever. I'm not defending Brutus. But I'm not clear, I'm not convinced. I have no conclusive evidence that Brutus had attempted to leave the country through Lethem. I understand that a person senior in rank, cannot confirm, was at Lethem and saw Brutus in a Brazilian vehicle. And let me tell you something about Lethem. Lethem full up with Brazilian registered vehicle. Plenty. They're there. And I think they intercepted Brutus prematurely. There's no conclusive evidence that Brutus went to the immigration and said, hey, I'm going across to Lethem. And a lot of cross-border activities takes place at Lethem. Some Guyanese living in Lethem and working in Brazil. Some living in Brazil and working in Lethem. And numerous vehicles with Brazilian number plates are at Lethem overnight and some there for weeks, as the case may be. So I'm not convinced, or I don't have conclusive evidence that Brutus had attempted to leave the country. But then again, how the Ministry of Home Affairs get involved in this thing? We have a chief immigration officer who is now an conformed squatter. Why the conformed squatter didn't get involved? Why the Ministry of Home Affairs get involved? So the whole thing is crazy. But then let me jump off. We're coming to the end of the year, and I want to wish all our students who have been supporting us throughout, whether in various forms, I want to wish them a happy new year. And I want to say that we will continue to be on the air. We'll continue to bring the information to you. We'll continue to bring the facts to you that they can't contradict. And let me jump to Barbies. And I hope that before the end of the year or early next year, those police ranks, those recruits who are in training at the Felix Arson Police College at Adventure, who have to spend their own money, who have to buy boots, police boots for $7,000 from a police corporal who's fronting for a very senior officer. I hope that they reimburse them their money, and I hope that they deal with the situation, the corruption that is going on there, because that's how it starts. Things starts in simple form, minor issue, and then it rises to whatever level the administration allows it to happen. So the corruption is going on, and I hope that before the end of the year or shortly thereafter, those police ranks, those recruits from region number 9 who have to spend their own money to buy boots that they wear to perform duties will be reimbursed their money. So I want to wish all our listeners and everybody a happy 2025. And may God bless all of us.
Yeah, thank you, CC. And the same to you and your family. And so, one of the students, you see, and David, you're correct. The bail would have been escheated for us. That is, if it comes to escheatment we're talking about, as different from revocation, the bail escheated, and then they issue an arrest warrant for the person in terms of the procedure and so on. Now, Christmas, we just had Christmas. Tomorrow is Old Year's Day, as we say. I spoke to a friend yesterday, the man told me about New Year's Eve. I said, me, I know nothing about New Year's Eve, man. I know Old Year's Day, Miss Guyanese. I know Old Year's Day, and we had a good laugh over it. But I'm wondering how CB252 spent his Christmas and how he intends to spend, how the New Year will break him, how the New Year will meet him, having regards to all that he did, all that he's alleged to have done in these criminal charges, and all that he did to ranks in the force. Wonder how he spent his Christmas. Not easy to, I would suspect, I don't have this experience, but I don't think it would be nice to spend Christmas away from your family in these circumstances. In these, but God don't sleep. God don't sleep. I want to, I saw something last night. We ain't got time to go into it, the next program. Just to show how wicked these people are. Wicked. You recall Quindon Bacchus was murdered by the police at Aslington area there. The family brought a civil lawsuit, and the judge awarded $22.5 million to the estate of Quindon Bacchus. I was shocked. Should not have been, because when you're dealing with Nandlal and them, nothing should shock you. They appeal the matter, they're claiming that the judge awarded too much money for the life of this man, 22.5. We don't have time to go into it. I got to read out here. But next program, we can talk about. They are saying that the fact that the judge awarded $22.5 million to Quindon Bacchus' estate, right? That's an exorbitant sum for the life of a young promising man. That is what. We're going to talk about it, because the people them Again, the crystal ball, as I've said, crystal ball is telling me that they're going to get promotion soon, right? Police Service Commission is going to rubber stamp whatever list is sent to them. Promotion. That list will contain people who have criminal allegations against them, including the man who is alleged to take money for cover-up murder, including the ranks who were not so long ago alleged to have taken money in the pension book scam, where they take a 2 million and then the man double up for next year. All of them going to be promoted. The ones who were involved in the same Quindon Bacchus murder have already been promoted. Some of them are likely to be promoted again. That is what you have going on in the force. Because remember, having disciplinary matters and those things pending is no longer a barrier to promotion. That is what this service commission, the Current Service Commission, decided. And then I saw a correspondence where they just decided to dismiss all the charges that were pending against all those people. They don't have any authority to do so. You can't dismiss a charge unless it is a certain process has gone through. If you want to discontinue, you may do so. But you can't say you're dismissing a charge when there's never been an hearing. You see, these are the things that people got to know. They did it before. The commission before us did that. You can't dismiss unless you go through a process. If you want, you can decide that based on the power vested in you, you can discontinue the proceedings. But dismiss implies that you had an hearing and there was no evidence to convict the persons. But all they're going to have happening, all of them. So they're going to get promotion. Some people, of course, will be deserving of the promotion, and a lot of them, criminals, corrupt people, are going to get by because that is what you have. That is a system that you have. It rewards criminality. It rewards incompetence. That is how it can get promoted to commissioner. Incompetence. This is a man who admitted to taking $8.5 million from a business to finance a wedding, and they didn't see nothing wrong with that. They didn't consider moral turpitude, so they promote it. So other people can get likewise. That is what you have. There's a system that you have. So, folks, I want to wish you all, because Wednesday is the first day of the year, New Year's Day, we're not going to have a program on New Year's Day. So, Leon, no program on New Year's Day. We are not going to have any program Wednesday coming New Year's Day. Stay tuned for when the next program will be aired. As it is now, we are scheduled for next Monday. But who knows? You might decide to come before that. But all we say to you, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel so you can get a notification when we go live. The next thing we want to remind you to make your small, it's still in the Christmas season, a time of giving. So those of you who have not contributed yet to the upkeep of this program, the year ain't done yet. You can still do so. For those of you who have made contributions, again, gratitude, our gratitude to you all. And enjoy, take it easy, because if you note, over the Christmas holidays and so on, quite a number of fatal accidents and shooting incidents and robberies and all this. Folks, we always ask that you stay safe. We always ask that you stay safe. So as we approach Old Year's Day and New Year's Day, I want to wish you all that you wish for yourself, and hope that 2025 will be a very rewarding year, whatever you determine or you deem that to be, and enjoy, be safe. And again, all the best for the new year, and may God bless you all. So until we meet again in the new year, I want to say again, happy New Year. God bless you and keep you safe. Bye.